wins this unbelievable game.
Tigers, White Sox supposedly tonight in Chicago, 7:10 right here in the ticket, but there's a winter storm warning out for Chicago today. Tigers and White Sox, again, weather permitting, right here in the ticket. Tiger right-hander Jordan Zimmerman to be sidelined for up to a month with a sprained pitching elbow. Zimmerman was 0-4 with a 5.93 ERA so far this year. Golden State gets to the second round of the NBA playoffs, 129-110. They beat the Clippers. They play Houston next. Stanley Cup playoffs, former wing goaltender Peter Mrazek. He stays red hot. Carolina takes game winner of the Islanders 1-0 in OT, and San Jose wins game one over Colorado 5-2. I have the ticket update desk. I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 97.1theticket.com.
The following is a paid program. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
The Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glantz.
Morning, Harv. How you doing today?
Fantastic here, April 27, 2019. We're going to give you 1 hour of the Mortgage Show. Of course, here we got brought in John Cole from our office. Hey, John, what's happening?
What's up, guys? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you, John. Of course, you're bringing some talented people. Here we got Noel Heidemann from the Max Brook Birmingham office. Hey, Noel, what's going on?
Good morning. How you doing?
Fantastic. Great to have you here, Noel. Yes, we did together share a closing a couple weeks ago. That's right. You're on the listing side. I showed up to see the buyers, and not too bad, right, Noel?
You guys are still talking.
Exactly. We're still friends. We're in the same room together.
Harvey's maturing.
We're going to get back to Noel being an expert on septic fields. We'll get into that later. There's a lot of those. Hey, look who's here. Mike Tomchak, Paramount Appraisals. How's it going, Mike?
Oh, great to be back, boys. It's been too long.
Top three of my favorite guests on the show over the last 19 years. He's in the top three. I know he's mad at me because I didn't say he's the top one.
That's right.
He's the
I
top
am,
three.
actually.
I know you are. So everybody out there, you have to tune in, okay? Ladies, gentlemen, we have a real estate expert, Noel Heidemann, and we have the appraiser, I would say of the decade at least, that's going to share. We're going to share some important information and facts that are things that are happening in the market. Harvey, John, and I are going to tell you, and you know this, if you're in your car right now, going around shopping, looking at neighborhoods, the market is on fire. Mike Tomchak, he can't even do as many appraisals as the market is asking for him. Isn't that correct, Mike?
That is absolutely correct. Turning down about 3, 4, sometimes even 5 a week right now.
And that's how hot the market is. And Noel's going to talk about where the market, he thinks, in the next 90 to 120 days, prime selling season is going to go. But I would be remiss if I didn't bring up a story from Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
And we talk about this because somebody has to be the voice of the reason, but the market is the market. All right, the market is the market. And we always say that if you want to buy a house and you overbid, that's okay. That's your business. If that's where you want to be. And I have no problem with that. So we had a situation. We're going to start out throwing 95 out of the bullpen. We're going to bring it up to 100 right now. So, Mike Tomchak, I ask you, I have a client. Client's a great client, a relo from a different part of the country, Nashville, Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah, I know they're not the same.
No.
All right, so they're moving in from Tennessee, and they give us a call. We take care of them, and the appraiser goes out to the house, and the house is in Detroit, between 7 and 8 Mile Road, between Livernois and Woodward. Okay. It's in Sherwood Forest. It's a beautiful area. It's a historic area. The homes are gorgeous, brick Tudor homes. And you know what's going on there. People, the last couple of years, they bought them, they fixed them up, and they're flipping them. All right, so the appraiser goes out there. The purchase agreement calls for somewhere in the range of $300,000. So let's just round it to $299,900. Okay? Send the appraiser out there, and the appraiser comes out with great comparables. So everybody out there, the best comps, as Mike Tomchak will tell you, are closest in proximity to the subject and just like the subject.
The most suitable substitute.
Correct.
Okay, that's what we're looking for there.
So if the houses around it, the next door neighbor's house is a Tudor and yours is a brick Tudor and it just sold, that's a pretty good comp. Same square footage, same amenities, same lot size, same everything.
Okay.
That's pretty good. And that's what these are. This is an old neighborhood. All the lots are the same. All the homes are the majority the same in square footage. So the appraiser goes out there, brings it in $15,000 under the
purchase
sale price.
Okay.
Of course. So, you know, everybody wants to call up, oh, Harry, it's your appraiser. They're bad guys.
I love that.
And I take a look at the appraiser.
We have a choice in the matter.
Right. And, we don't want it to close. Of course not. So, Mike, guess what happens? We take a look, and it's not only a very good appraisal, it's a great appraisal. Next door neighbor's house, across the street, everything, and it comes in. And the houses that have sold in that neighborhood range anywhere from $265,000 to say 290. One is above 300, but it's also 300 square feet bigger.
Okay. Yep.
So we get the call, and you know what's coming next. Ready? We're just going to take it to another lender because they have an appraiser that's going to go ahead and bring it in. Now,
That's illegal.
Completely illegal, first of all.
as an appraiser, when you hear that, that just has to make your skin crawl, because doesn't that undermine the integrity of what you do every day?
It defeats the entire purpose of the job. We're independent fee appraiser. We're not getting paid to do an appraisal, to take pictures, to do all that. Actually, we're getting paid for the first word there, independent. You have to have someone that's independent of all parties telling you what the property is actually worth. All right? And then there's no confirmation bias. It's not based on a predetermined purchase price or predetermined value. You're saying, here's what it's worth. You guys work out the deal. So, no, if someone's going somewhere else to get a shopped appraisal, that is really bad business.
And that's
bad for the market.
That is bad for the market because they're artificially bringing in something higher than it's worth. And Harvey, so who gets yelled at? Like we get yelled at.
Forget all that.
And how about this? What happens? What happens?
I'm going to bring Noel in on this one. Noel, I'm going to say to you, and you're going to call me up, and Noel's a perfect guy to call me up and say, but Harvey, this one's got a completely redone kitchen. The guy across the street, he hasn't touched the kitchen in 50 years.
Right.
And the bathroom was redone. And Mike, Noel, we see this all the time, but I'm on sometimes more so, and Harry will say this.
And Mike, I've got brick pavers on my patio.
That's terrific.
Okay, right? So
How does this all come together?
What do you gentlemen say about that when they say we're just going to go to another lender? Now, understand, we're protecting that buyer from themselves, but they have to have that house, so they're willing to overpay for it, but they don't want to bring any more money.
It's tough. It is. It's tough. I've got 3 closings this week, and in one in particular, this market is very interesting because the inventory actually levels are up compared to last year, which is, last year it was ridiculously low. Market was incredibly hot through about May of 2018. The 3 closings that I have this week, one sold, and it was on the market for, a really long period of time. It was about 120 days, 130 days. The second one actually was only on the market for a couple days, and the purchaser purchased it above what the list price was.
Yeah.
We did get it appraised actually over what that sales price was. Did have a little bit of a difficulty at one point in time, but we did get that through. So it's interesting how, and that's what I'm interested to find out from Mike about, how do appraisers value certain things with upgrades? I know you look at, the size of the house, location, you take into account, what does it back to? Is it near a major road? Is it, what is?
Well, okay, so I would love to talk about that, but real quick, just to address what you just said right before that about bringing cash, bringing extra money, and no one wants to do that. Just real quick out there, this is very important. That is how a market increases, okay? You cannot expect a mortgage company to give you a loan to increase market. People bringing cash to the table is how the market increases. Someone know in economics, something is worth what somebody is willing to pay, not what somebody is willing to spend of somebody else's money. Okay,
Right. Gotcha.
What you're bringing of your own. Okay, now back to what you just asked. Every market is different, but basically you're trying to do an extraction to extract value for certain characteristics. It has to be substantiated using math. I won't get into the boring details of that because we'll lose listeners. But
Well, you're going to confuse Harvey.
something like brick pavers, like you just mentioned, and all these amenities, it's impossible to extract value and substantiate it using math and data. So for those, it's a non-value added selling feature. It's an overall condition and quality rating. You're looking for other homes that are similar in condition and quality. Okay, so we're not doing itemized adjustments anymore because it can't be substantiated then, and you're just making things up arbitrarily. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. Yeah, I think the big thing that people have to understand is that, the great part about in my business, we have hard facts in regard to numbers. But if you haven't been through each of these homes, like Mike can attest to, you can only read what a remark section, says and what photographs show you what that house is. So, a house may sell for, say, $300,000, and there may be a discrepancy with what the value of that is based on another sale. But you can only, read what the numbers tell you. And unless you've been through every single home, you have to take into account, and that's where, the questions that rise for you in regard to, how appraisals work and how you guys take those figures and that type of information into account.
So then what Mike gives us, and it's a component of the file, the appraisal, then we take that component, which is the appraisal, which has all his facts and figures on it, and then we evaluate / underwrite a file, and we put all the components together to see if it makes sense for that loan.
Alrighty, hey, you guys, we're going to dive into this appraisal conversation a lot more. We got tons to share with you. Refinancing, purchasing. We're definitely in home buying season, although there is some snow coming. Keep it here on 97.1. We'll be right back.
Don't mention it.
Want more, Michigan?
Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding.
Welcome back to the show. We're broadcast till 10 o'clock. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Call us all week. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Always live here in the studio till 10 o'clock. 248-539-9797. We bring a divorce attorney in, Randy Glantz. Of course, always can talk about things that are going on when you're getting divorced. And, of course, we got Drew Colburn in, who's a professional real estate agent and, of course, great office down in Rochester Hills. What's awesome about home purchasing this time of year is it's always exciting and stuff. But, Randy, you run into this is, yes, sometimes families are going to break apart, and it's a sad thing, and they're trying to work things out. But if they are level-headed, they can sit down and come to an agreement before their divorce and buy. They can purchase a house
While
before
you're
the
going
divorce.
through a divorce, right?
But they need separation. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, there are, believe it or not, people who are actually amicable with each other. They sit down and they have a conversation. They determine early what the plan's going to be. If one of them is going to stay in the home, figure out what the equity in the home is, hire maybe a certified appraiser to help them with that and figure out what the balance on their mortgage is. And that is a number that probably the other side is going to have available once those funds are liquidated to purchase another home or condo or some other established residence.
What's great about it, too, Randy, is a lot of times is it just makes the family and the transfer, and again, a lot of stress that can be involved in this. If you're amicable with your ex-wife, why not even make it easier on your kids and everyone else involved?
Well, that's really the most important thing. So if they do have children, ideally it's best for them to sit down together and maybe even go look at homes together for that other spouse, because that's where the kids are going to be maybe half the time. So there are ways of doing it, and it doesn't have to be bitter and nasty. It can be actually very reasonable and rational.
It has to be reasonable and rational, and I'm a divorced dad. You have some choices in life, and when you bring little ones into the world, they should be your first concern. And take the temper down, listen to your attorney, get a realtor and mortgage guy involved, and figure out how you're going to put roofs over their heads and separate and be done.
A lot of times what I will do at the beginning stages, because we need to have a budget, we need to understand if the person who's going to be moving out, or maybe both of them are. The house is going to be sold. And if we just started a divorce, but here's the selling season, do we want to wait until the divorce is over? Probably not. We're going to lose valuable time.
No, let's get an agreement in place. Let's start looking at properties before we sell, because we're going to have to look at school districts. And sometimes, I was an Oakland Township guy. I couldn't afford Oakland Township anymore. I moved out of Oakland Township, now moving
.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by the LaFontaine Automotive Group, the family deal.
Good morning, welcome back. Here we are. 9:16, if you just joined us, a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, again brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. It's where you can find us all week long. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. And take all your calls here at 248-539-9797. Got a great show already warming up here. We're talking about appraisals. Congratulations, though, to everyone out there who's taking advantage of these low interest rates. Again, there's been a little bit of a downturn over the last month or so. Find out if you can save money. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, and get your new low rate. Again, whether you're doing debt consolidation, doing those home renovations, or just looking to lower your interest rate and lower the amount of years you have left, lower that term on your mortgage, call Capital.
And Harvey, what do we say? Rates aren't going down to zero. All right, so if you're waiting and you think rates are going to go down substantially more, they're going down a half a point, another point, it's not going to happen. Do what you have to do. Pay off the toxic debt, pay off the credit cards, take care of some home improvements. Go ahead and take advantage of the situation that is going on right now, because a year from now, you don't know what rates are going to do. We don't. If anybody tells you they know what rates are going to do, you have to run away from those people.
No,
you really do.
We tested the water in the threes, like 3.99 for like 3 days. And then they went back up. They evened out, You're talking 4, 4.25, 4.5, depending upon the program that you're getting into.
John, in December, rates were at 5.25.
100%.
Okay, you have to stop thinking that you're going to go ahead and beat the market. Right. All right, because if you think they're going to go down 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, 1/2, they're going to go up faster than they go down. Okay, you got to stop.
Yeah, take advantage of it. Make a call again, either to Capital, call your mortgage professional, but definitely find out what you can do to save a lot of money. You guys are really entrenched. We sort of dove into the appraisal thing right away, which is really what goes on this time.
They're drooling, Harvey. They're over here drooling to get back to it.
They're ready to go after it.
I'm going to tell you why.
What can go wrong with a mortgage guy, a real estate guy, and an appraiser in a room?
Wait a minute.
Like a joke.
It's a hot topic. It's a hot topic because the market is hot right now. And when you get an appraiser out there that says, hey, wait a minute, guys, I'm not here to wreck the deal. What I'm here to do is give you an objective, third-party, keyword, independent perspective here.
That's
all right? And you know what? Maybe Noel can go back and negotiate a better price. Or maybe Mike Tomczyk says, hey, the property is worth it. Maybe it's worth a little bit more. But the key word is it's an independent opinion. Mike Tomczyk doesn't work for a lender. He works for himself.
It's a fair market value.
Yeah, that's
exactly but then like you guys talked about earlier, okay, Econ 101, the market value is willing what a seller could sell it at, what a buyer's going to buy it at. Well, not what a lender's going to lend it at, okay? I got to tell you something. So I got news for you. All you Econ majors, you got to stop with that, too.
Well, you go ahead and, again, this comes up. So as we're going to be overbidding, Noel, the great houses are going, you're going to have to probably spend $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 over what the appraised value is. You better have your team together and have that plan together. If you were going in let's just use this $300,000 house that's listed, and you go in at $310,000 and you get your offer accepted. Well, you might not be putting 20% down anymore because you need an extra $9,000 or $10,000 to make up the shortfall on the appraised value. But so what? Get the house.
Yeah.
You can still buy a house with less than 20%, and there's no PMI. There's lots of programs like that. So again, having that plan together will allow you to overbid on a house confidently, and that's the thing. The knowledge gives you the confidence. But as I'm still talking to families that have gotten mortgages in the last couple of years, not from Capital, but they're not.
Yeah, but
they're not educated.
But Harvey, John, Mike, Noel. But I'm going to find a lender, and I'm going to shop the appraiser. I'm going to find a lender that's going to have an appraiser in his pocket, and he's going to bump the appraised value up.
It's impossible. It's illegal. There's no guarantee of that.
Not a Capital Mortgage Funding. It's not going to happen.
And real quick on that, too, now with the desktop underwriter and the SSRs that are ran, and Fannie and Freddie have all these different tools that they can grade appraisals on now. So if an appraiser comes in and does a garbage job, there's like 3 or 4 different checks before it even gets anywhere. So,
and I want to believe that. I do want to believe that, Mike. But not for $10,000, $15,000. Yeah, for $40,000, $50,000,
for a percentage
maybe. But
they've got the portal, right, Mike? So they upload the okay. So if we do the appraisal, they upload it, so it's on record with everybody that it's out there that the appraisal came in.
How about with FHA though? Don't those appraised values stick on that house for a period of 6 months?
Yeah. If it's logged in, a lot of times they don't input them. But if it's logged into the system, that's a true appraisal. Now, again, we talked about it here. We threw it out there. Rebuttals can be done. Rebuttal's going to, you get professional people involved. You get the listing agent, the selling agent. You hit the computer, you find out what's going on in the neighborhood. Maybe there's a for sale by owner that we missed.
Maybe they missed a comp.
You never know.
Hold on real quick.
Or seven.
For sale by owner. That's great topic.
Go for
sale
it.
by owner has to be substantiated from two different sources. You cannot just use a for sale by owner unless you have the purchase contract, and you have to know what kind of, was it arm's length? Was there concessions? You know, what was going on with the transaction? If you don't know that, you cannot use it as a comp. So for sale by owners have not used it.
You better knock on some doors.
You have to figure out a way to substantiate it using two sources, not just public records, because you'll see the sale there. But other than that, you have to know what type of transaction.
You know what? Your neighbor might want you to spend more for that house next door to them because they want that property value to go up. And like you said, this is one of the tools that helps you increase value in your neighborhoods by having people that love your neighborhood because it's clean, it's tidy, because you live there, the school district. And this is how things progress. And again, you're going to get more value out of your house by other people overpaying a little bit.
It's the best thing. And I will also say when you just got the segment going, right now in spring, you're starting to get the higher sales, but it's very difficult because we're using sales that had happened in the wintertime. And in another couple weeks here, the appraised values are going to start to go up because these spring sales are going to kick in.
Right, you're
so
not
that's going to help you a lot
overpaying
too.
for a house. You're just coming off a market or a time period when sales were lower.
Seasonal price fluctuations in Southeast Michigan.
Yeah, we expect prices to rise, but just at a slower rate, I guess.
Yeah, so no, that brings us in a great segue, guys. So what do you see for the market between now and say October 1?
I mean, I think it should. If our market, the first quarter sales are actually down 3%.
Well, that's because January was horrible.
Yeah, January was really bad. I think really, if you look back to November through probably February, the market wasn't very good. But inventories are up, like I had mentioned earlier, compared to a year ago, which isn't that surprising because the market, September 2017 to May 2018 was ridiculous. There wasn't a lot of homes on the market. You had buyers. You had up to 10, 12 sometimes buyers bidding on a home. So you get into that appraisal issue where, I've heard multiple people say in a $250,000 house, people are paying $280,000, $290,000 for it, which is $40,000 over what it's listed.
Appraisal waivers.
With appraisal waivers. So what they do is you write a purchase agreement. You say you're going to guarantee a sales price of X, regardless of what the appraisal comes in at. Now it's risky if you have the cash to do it and you want the house.
You're going to have some happy neighbors in that neighborhood.
You have very happy neighbors, and that was happening.
But again, you got your education, your knowledge gives you that power and that confidence to move forward. If you know everything you looked at 250 hasn't been redone, the kitchen, the bathrooms needs a new roof. Well, it's 30 or 40. That's why your knowledge of the neighborhood and your agent and having the professionals involved,
exactly,
they're the ones who can make it all happen. You got to have that knowledge to make that step.
There's no such thing as going through, especially if you're interested in a particular neighborhood, going through everything that's listed, regardless if in 100 years you wouldn't buy 3/4 of those houses. You're educating yourself. Knowledge is power. And if you have that, it's going to help you make the decision on the home that you're eventually going to purchase. And then you're more willing, I should say, if you need to go up and above what that list price is, if you really want that home and have the confidence that it will appraise via Mike, because you've seen everything else that's out there.
And if you just a question, guys. So for everybody out there listening, everybody thinks they know where the hot areas are, but not only do I want to know what is continuing to stay hot in the market, but where do you guys see the best value?
The best value?
The best value.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, the size of house for the money that you're going to get with all the amenities, lot, everything like that. The best values. Everybody, look at, for example, Woodward Corridor.
Howell.
Everybody know how. Okay, right. Why? Why Howell? Because why?
Because you can get 10 acres for nothing, for nothing comparatively. If you go somewhere else, you can't get 10 acres. So do you want to live with a pole barn and your own firing range? Go out to Howell. I mean, it's good value.
Sounds good to me.
Other than that, it's it's completely subjective. It depends on what each person wants, what you're looking for. It's really hard to get good value right now, honestly.
Exactly. The schools, everything else, you've got to take all those things into account depending upon who it is that's looking. The farther out you go from, say, I don't know, if you take Oakland County and then you branch out, the farther out you go from that, the more value you're going to get. You're going to get acres, you're going to get a bigger house, price per square foot, everything else goes down. but you're farther away. So it just depends on what you like and where you want to be.
Well,
Northern
the
Oakland
old
County.
school thought was that you could always drive to where you work, right?
Sure.
But we're seeing more people moving closer in. They're moving closer to the main thoroughfares. Like we talk about the Woodward Corridor all the time because they want to be right there. And then they want to go
People
downtown.
like a downtown. They like a little downtown area.
Well, I'm having a discussion.
Alrighty, guys, we're up against our second break here. It's 9:26. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back. It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, again brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, that's where you can find us all week long, all weekend long. Get that real approval letter. Yeah, that means something different. And again, get some professional advice. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We always take your calls here live in the studio. 248-539-9797. We got Drew Colburn in from Colburn McDonald & Associates, Rochester Hills, great real estate office. And, of course, Randy Glantz filling in her. Always, she does her appearance. This is only your first appearance of 2019. Great to have you here from Clark Hill. And again,
it's like a kumbaya moment, okay? There's no adversity. You've got mortgage people sitting in with attorneys and realtors.
It's always good.
Okay, yeah, and we're holding hands, we're singing songs, we're giving advice. It's amazing.
And she skipped Orange Theory this morning.
She's getting
you guys are
go this afternoon.
You guys are all into that stuff. Hey, Drew, there's no doubt the market always has been changed in the last 2 years. Buyers were offering everything, including their firstborn child, to get their offer accepted. Here you go, 2019 inventory still a little bit on the lighter side, unless you're into maybe $500,000 and above. What do you see in a change here in 19?
2 months ago, we had 4 months of supply on the market. As of today, this morning, 2.3 months of supply. It's dwindling quick. The weather hasn't broke. A lot of fair weather put my house on the market. People haven't listed yet. If you're in affordable housing from $60,000 to $400,000, it's so tight. You need to come prepared. Sharpen your sword, get your stuff together, proper analytics all apply, and get a realtor that knows the market. Get a local professional that knows the school system, that can introduce you to the athletic director or the principal of the high school. That's important. Get mortgage guys like these guys. They ain't pretty, but they're good.
Fantastic. 248-539-97.
Sure
I don't even have anything written here. I said, hey, well, what about all you real estate gurus out there? Have been selling homes nonstop. I mean, you walk someone in a house, like you said, in that price range, you better have your pencil sharpened because you're writing an offer.
Because you're going to fall in love with a house, and if you don't have your stuff together, it's going to sell tomorrow while you're trying to get your DU approval, talk to your mortgage guy, figure out what your financial planner wants. All that stuff has to be done walking into the war.
You opened me up to this next question. That's why that knowledge of your backyard, you have to have that knowledge, Drew, accurate pricing. That way you understand that if the house is on the market, let's say for $325,000, you know that you have some flexibility. Even if you have to overpay to $335,000, $345,000, you know the market, you're confident in making that move. If it costs you $10,000 to take
Tigers had led up by 7. Tigers and White Sox tonight. Right here on the ticket at 7:10. Weather permitting, there is a winter storm warning forecast for Chicago. Tiger right-handers Jordan Zimmerman sidelined for up to a month with a sprained pitching elbow. Lions in the second round take Hawaii linebacker Jelani Tavai. And ESPN barely discussed him. He was ranked 237 in the best prospect list by Pro Football Focus, 199th best by CBS Sports. Pro Football Weekly and their draft preview magazine did not even mention him. Lions traded up to take Boston College safety Will Harris in the third round. Rounds 4 through 7 are today. Michigan Chase Winovich and David Long both go in round 3. Winovich in New England. Long to the Rams. MSU corner Justin Lane goes to Pittsburgh in the third round, where he will join Michigan's Devin Bush. At the Ticket Update desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 97.1theticket.com.
Now available for download. Always Aggravated. A Mike Valenti signature podcast. Get it on radio.com and Apple iTunes. 97.1 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back to the show, 9:30. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Yep, we're powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's where you're going to save a lot of money. If you're buying a house, get educated on the process, get a real approval letter, deal with the pros. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Also, take your calls here live in the studio, 248-539-9797. Always talking real estate, mortgages, a lot of great things going out there. You know, in March, the first-time home buyers made up 33%. This is humongous. 33% of the existing home sales in March were all the first-time home buyers out there. I actually have new neighbors, and I don't know when they're going to come out and do their introduction. I'm willing to bring over the tray of cookies and brownies.
You're going to take over the apple pie?
What about the pie?
Something. I said, hey, look, guys, if you haven't set up the garbage thing, you can put your garbage here. It's Tuesday's garbage. I did make them an offer.
You're going to be a nice neighbor, Harvey.
I'm
You're
a nice
good neighbor.
Hey, let's roll off to a call here. We'll go back to our conversation. Kevin from Ypsilanti. Good morning, Kevin. Welcome to the show.
Hey, I have a question. If I was to go and see how much I qualify for a loan, does that affect my credit score when I'm trying to?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, you can run a mortgage credit report, the Real McCoy, and that does nothing to affect your credit score in a negative way. You're able to. The deal is you can run those as many as you want up to like 30 days.
Within 30 days.
Within 30 days. So
you don't want to shop around to 15 different people. It's
Exactly.
just you have to explain each inquiry that you have on your credit report when you go to apply for a mortgage. So you got to make sure you just don't shop. Get yourself with 1-2 reputable people, and then make sure they're giving you the facts, what your credit score is, and then when you shop around to the other people, just let them know. Here's what my credit score is from the 3 scores from the other companies. What can you get me? And that's the best way to move forward. But yeah, it's not going to hurt you like Harvey said, it's not going to hurt you the first, second, third time. But don't go hog wild.
Exactly. My next question: Do you always have to, or is it better to put 20% down on a home?
Well, not at all. In fact, you can purchase homes with 0 down. So the rural development loans, USDA loans, are 0 down in those areas. And you can consider something like that. VA, of course, 0 down. Now, FHA is 3.5% down. But there's plenty of conventional programs at 3% down. So, several low down payment programs out there. It's always nice to have 20% down. But nowadays, with so much debt out there, and of course, the generation that went through college recently and coming out of college now, they're buried in college debt. So they don't have a lot of cash on hands. Kevin, it's a first-time home buyer. You're renting now?
Yes.
And you've been saving some money up to purchase your house. Where are you at with that savings?
Saving, I'm up to probably about 14.
Oh, you got plenty of money to purchase a house. Give me an idea. What are you paying in rent right now?
7-something.
Okay.
770. Yeah.
I'll tell you this: owning a house for about $1,000 a month is like renting for $750 with the tax deduction. I think your time, if you want to take a piece of home ownership with you, maybe you can own a house free and clear by the time you're old, like Harry and me, or whoever else.
Just like Harry. That's
like Harry. Yeah.
We're going to go with Harry.
Go with Harry.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question. What's the difference between the closing costs and putting money down? Is that the same or that's different?
No, different.
That's different. There's 3 components of home ownership. You've got your down payment, you've got your closing cost, and then you've got your escrow accounts and your proration of taxes and homeowners. Those are called prepaids. So, Kev, you're ready to sit down with a real pro. It doesn't cost anything.
Okay.
We'll follow up with you after the show and see if you want to come into the office. No obligation at all.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for the call. Again, a lot of first-time home buyers out there, and that's one of the things we always suggest for everyone is the first step, go meet some professionals.
Those are good questions.
Yeah, and they're great questions. Sit down with some professionals. You can review your credit. You can look at it. We'll share it with you a lot of times. We'll go over some things if you need to fix them up. So sitting down with the real pros, that's at least the first step. And then a lot of times the mortgage people can guide you into the top real estate agents. I like it that way versus the other way around because the key is to deal with real professionals in the industry.
Yeah, the difference between closing costs, escrows, and down payment, I thought he brought up great points. When somebody gives you a quote, the closing costs, don't be confused with the actual cost to do the loan and then what the taxes and insurance on that property is. Okay, they're 2 separate components. Some people add them together so it looks like you're paying $9,000 in closing costs when you're not. You're probably paying somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 in closing costs, and then you have about $6,000. It could be anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 in taxes. But you have to. We'll show you how to break that out. We'll make sense of it, and then of course the down payment piece, and you have to add all that together, and it goes from there.
I get that question 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Oh, this lender's telling me my closing costs are $9,000. I could certainly throw that lender under the bus and say, yeah, ours aren't that high, right?
No.
But you got to educate and say, no, what you're seeing is also including the escrow account, and that's your savings account with the mortgage company.
It's the way the documents now, they wanted to make lending simple for the consumer to understand, so they put all this on one document. And at the bottom of the document, it says, here are your costs to close. And it says $9,000. Okay, wrong. So inevitably, every day, we get that call 15, 20, 30 times a day. So we'll break it down for you because it is confusing.
Yes.
We don't take for granted that we do this every day a lot, and some people don't do this. They do it every 7, 10, 20 years. So we'll break it down for you. We'll make it, like Kevin said, we'll break it out for you.
Yeah, I mean, those sellers' concessions don't show up on loan estimates, John. It's one of the things. The earnest money deposit doesn't show up until you're doing your final figures. Knowing those things really make your process smooth and easy. And, working with some buyers, it's a 50-50 world out there. 50% of them just love the interaction, love the constant answering of the questions, and they're gaining that knowledge. And the other 50% sort of wandering out there. I mean, sometimes things go good, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, that document's going to, regardless of who's responsible for paying the closing costs, that document's going to show the closing costs so that it can be factored into the APR, your annual percentage rate. Just a disclosure rate, not your actual note rate. So it's just, they got involved, the government got involved and made it all confusing for all of us.
They try to make it simple, and it's worse than it ever was before.
Muddy waters.
We had this 248-539-9797. Love to hear from you if you got some calls, if you're a first-time buyer, if you've done this a million times. If you want to just add something that you think's pretty important stuff out there about buying or selling real estate, give us a call. 248-539-9797. Mikey, last night we spoke a little bit. And again, just so everyone knows out there, Mike doesn't even do our appraisals. Okay?
No,
Mike is claiming he can't be stumped as well.
Oh, yeah.
I challenge people to give him a call today and
Mike,
stump him.
Mike, one of the great things out there about living in Michigan is we have a variety of different kinds of homes. The geographical area we live in, again, there's hills and there's a lot of different things. But we got these walkout basements. We've got basements in Michigan.
Yeah.
And that's the misnomer out there. People don't know, hey, is it a bedroom in the basement? That doesn't count as a bedroom. Give us a little information for the listeners.
This is great. So when we talked yesterday, I had been jotting down this week frequently asked questions that people always ask me the same questions when I do the appraisal at their house. The most frequent have to do with basements. Okay, so how are they valued? Does it count as square footage? But wait, man, I have a walkout. It's got to count as square footage.
An egress window.
An egress window in the bedroom. Okay, so to answer all those, no. Per guidelines, the basement, whether it is a walkout or not, does not count in your square footage. It counts as a basement. If it's finished, that's terrific.
I love basements.
It counts as a finished basement. If you have a bedroom in the basement or a bathroom in the basement, egress window or not, it counts as a bedroom or a bathroom in the basement. So it's in a different portion, and it's valued differently depending on how it's extracted for the market. So to answer that question, if you're reading your appraisal report and you say, man, this guy missed my bathroom in the basement, or this girl missed my bathroom in the basement.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
Yeah. No, they didn't miss it. It's just in a different spot, and it's valued differently.
Noel, not you. You've been around too long, 28 plus years. But yes, real estate agents don't know that. We see them on listings listed wrong. But I mean, there's no doubt. Look, if you're you got to run to the bathroom and there's one in the basement, it's a bathroom. Yeah. If your friends are over sleeping over and they're in the basement, they're in a bedroom basement. But those don't count necessarily on the appraised value.
Mike will see that too. He'll see that on our listing tickets where there's the square footage of the home. And then below that, there will be a square footage of the basement and the square footage of the finished portion of the basement. But yeah, I mean, I'd go right with Mike.
That's accurate. And by the way, I think you may have just said that there's no value. No, there definitely is value in that stuff. Okay, so it's not that there's no value. It's just a different value. It's extracted differently. It has to be substantiated differently because it is a different thing.
And like if I put
it's a selling feature.
It is a selling feature.
It's a lifestyle too. But I mean, if I put $70,000 to $80,000 in my basement and I have the cool golf simulator down there and I dug it out and I can have a batting cage down there, that doesn't mean. I mean, it's value for me. But Mike, it's not value on an appraisal.
Yeah, you spent $80,000. Somebody else spent $20,000. Now, how am I supposed to do a difference on an appraisal for is $60,000? No. So the problem is you can't substantiate. Again, I keep using that word because you have to have math to back up where these values are coming from. You have a finished basement. They have a finished basement. You both have a bath. It's all equal. So you spend $80,000. I would love to come over and watch a game there, but other than that,
but on top of that, you got one seller walking through both those homes, and that may be the difference.
Beautiful.
That's different.
That
pushes them to
intrinsic value for sure.
Exactly.
But we go through tons of homes that okay, you've got 2 listing sheets in front of you, and they both say finished basement. So I go through one, and it's like what Harry said. He's got a golf simulator. It's got drywall,
I
moldings.
don't. I really don't have one. I'm just making it up.
The whole kit and caboodle.
He's got something. You got something.
The second ticket says that it's a finished basement, and I walk downstairs, and they've painted the floor.
Painted concrete.
A gray concrete, yeah. And then maybe there might be some, I don't know, some kind of paneling up on the walls. That's...
No. When we come back, Noel, let's dive into this a little more. That music says we're up against a quick break here. 248-539-9797. Tons to share with you. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Hi, Harry Glantz.
There we are, back on the year, 9:45. That's right. Well, it's not going to feel like spring out there today, but definitely tomorrow. 65 and sunny, so hang in there. A little bit of wind out there, 40-mile-an-hour wind and 50 degrees
Easter,
today.
everybody.
This is it. Oh, great happy Easter to everyone out there listening. Passover. Enjoy your holiday weekend here. If you're just taking it off, again, we take all your calls here. 248-539-9797. We're open to Capital Mortgage all weekend long. Give us a call if you need that approval letter. Again, call us all week long. And Harry, of course, we're in the midst of a big refi boom going on here. Now, rates did improve a little bit yesterday. They a roller coaster ride. The best rates we'd had started on about March 27th, Harry. There was a short window there of 7 to 10 days.
Right.
Be sure to still contact your mortgage professional. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. So many families getting out of their mortgage insurance, switching their term of their mortgage.
Yeah, but people are still falling back in their bad habits, okay? End of March, we called people up, and rates were the lowest they were in almost 3 years, right?
Yeah.
But then people say, but we know they're going lower. Well, first of all, if you know they're going lower, you need to pick the lotto numbers for me, okay? Because nobody knows that they're going lower. That's number one. Number two is that why would you miss an opportunity? Rates have actually gone up in the last 3 weeks. They've settled in pretty nicely, but they're, again, not as low as they were 3 weeks ago, but they're still low. So if you're on the fence, get off that fence now, lock it in, and we'll close you. But don't play that game. We don't play that game.
No, not at all.
If somebody tells you they know, it's like your stockbroker. If you have a stockbroker, I know that this stock's going up. You have to run from those people. Nobody knows what that happens there. I mean, It's amazing to me. Every year, I'm doing this 30 years. People know rates are going down.
I thought you had a crystal ball.
God, I do. It's on my desk. You know what it is? It's blank. There's nothing in it.
We did get them one. Refinancing, though, of course, paying off that land contract. This is a great time to do it again. Take advantage of low interest rates, or go ahead and reduce your term down to maybe a 15 or a 20-year mortgage. Great opportunities. If you could remove the mortgage insurance and drop the term, then you can really handle two things and really start building some equity up in your house. All right, let's move on to some calls here. 248-539-9797. We've got Joe on a cell phone. Good morning, Joe. Welcome to our show. Here we go. Here you go, Joe. Hi, Joe.
I just got pre-approved for a home, to buy a home. And I'm looking in Sault Ste. Marie, as that's where my career took me. It's a 1,200 square foot home. There was a new furnace put in 2012, a new roof put on in 2013, and then everything that was done in 2018 was new windows, siding, and insulation. I really like the home because it's right next to where I work. The one thing, I had my realtor look into it. They're asking $109,900 for the home, and she said that it sounds like they're only willing to come down to $104,900, which I don't buy that. I dug in a little deeper, and I found out who the owners of the home was, and it turns out that I know them a little bit, just on a small personal level.
So what are you trying to achieve? You're just trying to get the price lower?
I want to get the price lower, and how would you guys go about doing that now knowing the information I know?
If you have an acquaintance and I'm representing you and you have an acquaintance with the seller of the property, I would say, hey, put it in writing. Say, hey, these are the reasons why I want to buy the property. Oh, by the way, I know you, and here's my move, here's my situation.
And then it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're in our 19th year. We appreciate all of you listeners out there, all our clients that might have come by our shop. And again, if you want a mortgage, call
19th
Capital.
year on the air. 27th year in business.
27 plus.
27 plus.
There you go.
Thank
all
you.
right. Hey, we take your calls here too. 248-539-9797. Let's get to these calls. We got Jimmy out there on a cell phone. Jimmy, welcome to our show. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm looking at a house. I actually just put in an offer yesterday. The house is listed at 120, and I have to get the home inspection. I have to get the sewage inspection because there's a big tree in the front lawn. And basically, if all that goes through, that's going to cost me $500 for between the two inspections.
Right.
And then after that, I have to pay for the appraisal, and between my realtor and the seller's realtor, I guess, is an appraiser, but my realtor is like 50-50 on if he thinks it will appraise for what they're asking.
Well, what if it came in? Well, let's talk about this, and we all have an opinion on it. First thing is, what if it comes in at $110,000? Is that a deal breaker for you?
It wouldn't be for me, but I mean that's kind of the thing. Like if it comes in at 110, I can offer them 110. But I'm using my VA home loan with seller concessions.
Right. So you're using seller's concessions. You're going zero down. Is it fair to say, Jimmy, that you don't have a lot of extra money in case it appraises low? Is that true?
That's correct.
Well, and by the way, guys, we have to use a VA appraiser.
Yeah.
So the VA is going to order that appraisal. So it's not like anybody can do the appraisal and rig the appraisal for you.
Right. Yeah. Jimmy, you're not going to want to go out and just get your own independent appraisal because you can't use it. And why wouldn't you want an appraisal? You want to make sure that house is worth what you're paying for it.
I know the VA is going to have to do the appraisal, but my thing is I don't know if it's going to appraise for what they're asking.
Then you renegotiate.
Yeah, that's the best thing for you. Noel will tell you that.
Well, I think what you're saying is you don't want to spend the money on all of the other stuff and then find out that the appraisal is low. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Like I don't want to be $1,000 in the hole after the inspections and the appraisal.
You change,
and then
Jimmy.
not get the house.
It's a great. I love your call. I haven't had this one in a while. Yep. There's no problem. Let's get some smart people involved here. In this situation, let's do the appraisal first. Let's write on the purchase agreement. That way, you're only out $400 to $500.
I got a better idea. You don't want to do the appraisal first because then you lose your inspection contingency.
No, you change the wording
your
on
timing.
it. You change it.
But Jimmy, we'll cover your appraisal. Get your inspections done. We'll pay for your appraisal. Just give us a call. We'll get it done for you.
I like that one.
That's a good one.
Wow, you're a better sales guy than I am. Jimmy, what John said's great also, but there's two choices there. We can change the wording. I think Noel liked where I was going with it, but either way, there's some opportunity here to change the language on your purchase agreement. And you do not have to do the inspections before you do the appraisal. You simply have to write that you're entitled to do a home inspection after the appraisal and a sewer line inspection. That way, you're not out the $1,000, and then there's no deal afterwards anyways.
I kind of feel like either way I could be out $1,000 because if it appraises for the right amount, and then I get the inspection and the sewer inspection, and I find something I don't like, then I paid for all of it.
But that's true. But that's the risk you got to take.
Step by step.
That's part of buying a house.
You do one thing, and then you don't start the next process till those results come back. So you do if you're worried about the sewer, you do your sewer line first, and then if that passes, then you move on to the regular inspection. If that passes, then we order that. We don't just haphazardly order appraisals. But Jimmy, we'll give you a call. We'll take care of you.
This is a good one, Jimmy. We're going to follow up with you and see if we can save you some money along the way. Great stuff. Thank you for the call. 248-539-9797. That's a good one.
So let me ask you guys a question here.
Jimmy was in a wind tunnel.
Well, first of all those suggestions are good ones because they're all flexible, and that's how we work. Okay, try doing that at a bank. That's all I'm telling you. That's all I'm telling you.
Or even Noel doing it with unqualified agents who don't understand it. You can just flip flop the
It's extremely flexible.
Is the bank manager going to give a thumbs up like Harry and Harvey did when we offered to pay for the appraisal when their teller tells them to do that? No, Harry and Harvey both agreed. Let's make sure we take care of this guy,
especially
because he's a veteran.
Take care of the client.
There you go.
Who's up next, Harv?
Hey, let's go off to Carl in Farmington Hills. Good morning, Carl. Welcome to our show.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank you.
Good. How are
Go
you?
ahead, Carl.
Good. Quick question. I'm in my mid-50s, live in Northwest Farmington Hills in a 4-bedroom colonial that don't really need anymore.
Right.
My financial advisor is telling me I should sell now because the market is high, and he thinks we're at the top of the bubble. and he thinks I should rent for a year or so until things settle down. He's expecting a correction in the next year or two, maybe 8 to 10%.
Well, he's got a better crystal ball.
Nostradamus there.
Harry, he stole your crystal ball.
He stole my ball.
Can I go with something real quick?
Karnak the Magnificent.
I have to say something that I haven't said in a long time. I was wrong because last year I thought that this was over too. I thought after fall we were going to hit a correction, and I was wrong. So if that guy knows something,
yeah, I want his phone number definitely.
Well, I would say
Nostradamus.
Here, wait. Let's before we go ahead and poo-poo this. Fundamentally, the thought process is fine. Okay, it's a great thought process. You're in your mid to late 50s. You don't need the big house anymore. I'm gonna guess that the master bedroom is on the second floor.
Correct.
So what you're going to do is you're going to look for a place that doesn't have a master on a second floor. You're going to sell your house, and you want to get at the top of the market.
Okay.
I like the thought process. All right. The however is you're never going to hit it at the top, and you're never going to buy at the bottom. It just doesn't happen that way for everybody. But fundamentally, his thought process and the direction you're going is extremely accurate, and philosophically, I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
No,
I think it's a great time to sell right now.
And my realtor is telling me the same thing because basically she's saying Farmington Hills is not as marketable as it used to be compared to other communities, although the taxes are high.
I'm with you, and I can't disagree with that. Again, I think the fundamentally sound thinking is there. Philosophically, I think it's there. And if you're ready to make that move, and you can get, the highest and best for it, Noel, then you might have to take a look at it. If you get a good offer, now you don't sound like a guy that is in a hurry to sell, but if you got the number, now you could rent for a year, you could rent for a year and a half, you could rent for 2 years. But what your financial planner's telling you is take the money now, it's pretty good, and you could always rent for a year or two or however long it is until you find another place.
Yeah, he's thinking conservative. I still owe about I get about $200 out of my house right now, so I owe a balance on that. He would invest that in a low risk, maybe 5% yield.
Low risk. It's got to be low risk. You don't want to mess with it. You're at an age where you can't afford risk. You need stability.
Carl, maybe you can make a little bit of money, and then, but over a year of renting, I got a feeling you'll be back in the housing market. I think your plan is fine and dandy. No, did you want to comment, or we're gonna?
No, I was going to ask him what range he thought his home was in.
Okay.
Probably high threes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It'll fly off the market.
Yeah. It's, you know what? Honestly, Carl, as long as you do your due diligence and your agent does, and know what's out there currently, and pay close attention to what's sold, and don't try to get greedy. Market it the way at it what it should sell for. You should move the property.
Yeah, Carl, it's a great call. We'll follow up with you after too, and thank you very much.
One
sure, go ahead.
Question that I'm concerned about is, what about the compensation for the fact that I'm losing money, paying the realtor fee, I'm losing a tax write-off, et cetera, et cetera. Is it still
You're not
viable?
losing money.
You're gaining money because you're going to be selling your house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just hate throwing that money at a realtor, but it is, that's
He might get you more money for the house.
I have two kids. It hurts.
Carl, good questions, good stuff, and we'll follow up with you. We thank you for the call. All righty.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thank you.
your help.
Yeah, thanks, Carl.
248-539-9797. We're sneaking all these calls in here. Jeremy calling in from Farmington. Farmington Hills is hot today. What do you mean it's not hot? Everyone's calling in. Hey, Jeremy, welcome to our show.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Go ahead.
So my question is, I'm currently in a rental, and I got about a year left, and I'm trying to figure out the whole process of a loan, home looking. How soon should I start looking at getting a home?
Start now.
I'm out of this. Start now?
Start now. And here, you can't go wrong. You call us. We give you good information. If there's something that you have to start working on, at least you have time to start working on it instead of trying to fit it into a 3-week box. A good example is, I pulled somebody's credit and they were 8 months out. They had a small $84 medical collection on their credit report, causing their score to be a little bit lower. They had time to fix it. Go pay it, get the score redone. You got time for the credit to bounce back. If you try to do that within a month of finding you have a house and then you try to do a mortgage, your score might not bounce back in enough time, and you're going to cost yourself rate and money and costs.
In terms of the debt calculator of actually figuring out your debt-to-income ratio, I'm a little confused on that. Do you include what you currently pay for rent, or do you not include that?
No. We take that out because you're going to be moving into the house and you won't have the rent payment anymore. Now, if you're buying it as a second home or an investment property, yes, we'll take your rent into account.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Jeremy, thanks for the call. We'll definitely follow up with you, too, and see if we can give you some great advice. Again, there's no obligation to call lenders or call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Again, you sit down with us. We could review your credit. As John mentioned, if you have any blemishes on your credit, we get some time to work those out. We have the Credit Expert program. Software program will tell us what you need to do to potentially even increase your scores. Guys, that music says
I can't believe it's over.
Unreal.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Again, the fastest show in radio right here. And the Ford's favorite show. This is the Ford's favorite show on 97.1.
You verified that for me.
It's verified, yes. Martha Ford loves our show because we didn't even talk anything about the NFL draft at all.
That's good.
And we tried, we want to, but we
Hey,
didn't.
I've got my Lions socks on, baby.
There
Let's
you
go.
go.
Our
There you go.
Lions
We can
socks.
verify
Got
that.
the socks.
It's going to take a lot more than those socks, but it's a good start.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
All right, we definitely want to thank Noel Heidemann, downtown Birmingham, Max Brook. Great to have you, Noel.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming in. Of course, Mike Tomchak, Paramount Appraisals. Always great, Mike. We'll have you guys back again later in the year. You guys are fantastic. If anyone has mortgage or real estate questions, be sure to call us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports, social commentary. Keep it here on 97.1. For John Cole, for Harry Glantz, I'm Harvey Freed. We'll see you next Saturday.